Welcome back, Odooers. One of the basics of accounting best practices is recording bank transactions to keep track of the balance of your bank accounts and then reconciling those transactions with payments, invoices, and bills. We have several different possibilities for how to register bank transactions in Odoo. Create them manually, import them in groups of transactions like our weekly or monthly bank statements, or even better, we can synchronize our bank with the database. In this last case, the bank transactions will be automatically created in Odoo thanks to the synchronization with the bank or credit card account. Let's check it out in Odoo. Starting from our accounting dashboard, we can see our bank journal, and we have a button for the transactions of this journal. Clicking on this button opens a view of the journal's transactions with the most recent at the top. We can see that for each transaction, we have a date, a label, and an amount. And additionally, most of our transactions here have a partner set. And for those that are already reconciled, we can see a check mark and what they were reconciled with. For more information on that, be sure to check out our other video on bank reconciliation. We can also see on some of the lines we have a little icon next to the date. These icons can be for an activity to do regarding this transaction, an attachment like a PDF for a vendor bill, or when there's no icon, hovering on the line will display the chatter icon. Regardless of which icon is displayed, clicking on it will always open that transaction's chatter. The chatter here keeps track of everything related to this transaction, including past history, scheduled activities, and attachments. We can click on another line to make it the active transaction, and we'll see the chatter of that record instead. And we can always close the chatter using the X button in the top right and open the chatter again using the chatter button that replaces the X button when the chatter is closed. Next, let's talk about statements. A statement is simply a group of transactions as we have here. The most recent transactions currently don't belong to any statement, but before that, we have weekly statements. And if we want to group these more recent transactions into a statement, we can just hover on any line and we'll see a statement button pop up on the right side here. If we click on that, it will create a statement that contains the transaction that we are hovering over, plus every transaction below it until it hits the next statement. In the pop-up window that appears, we can choose the statement reference, and we have the starting balance that is pulled from the ending balance of the previous statement. We have the ending balance, which is calculated from the sum of the starting balance and all of the transactions in the statement. And we can also add an attachment, such as a PDF statement, if we want to keep that here. We can click Save, and then once that's saved, we can click on the statement reference or the statement amount to open that statement. The quickest and easiest way to generate bank transactions is to synchronize the bank account so that Odoo automatically pulls in all the transactions. To do that, let's go back to the accounting dashboard, and from here we can click on the vertical ellipsis menu of an existing bank journal with transactions, and then click on Connect Bank. And we'll see our list of the most common banks in Belgium since we're in a Belgian company, but there are tens of thousands of banks around the world that we can connect with. Alternatively, if we have a journal without transactions, like our new credit card journal here, we can click directly on the bank to connect with, or we can click on the Search Over 26,000 Banks button. Or we can also create a new journal by clicking New at the very top, and then select Bank or Card, and we'll get that same list of banks to connect with. Once we select a bank, we can choose which provider we want to use from the drop-down menu selector. This is the third-party provider that Odoo uses to sync with your bank. Next, we have the option to choose whether this is a business or a personal account. Either way, click and connect will take us to the bank's website where we can enter our account details to finish the synchronization process. If for whatever reason you don't want to sync your bank account to automatically create bank transactions in Odoo, don't worry, we have other options. You can import bank statements from the accounting dashboard directly by clicking on the bank journal's vertical ellipsis menu and then clicking Import File. Or we can actually click on a bank cash or credit card journal's name. And from here, we can click Upload. Here, we could import an Excel file of individual transactions, or we can import an entire statement PDF from our bank, and Odoo will read the PDF, create the transactions in Odoo, and group them in a statement. Let's try it with this statement. We'll click Refresh. And on the off chance that Odoo misread any of the data, we can simply click on the field that we want to correct, and then click on the correct amount in the PDF, and it will update automatically. We can even add a new line, select the missing field, and click and drag to indicate that multiple items were missed, and we can do the same for the other fields as well. And just like that, everything's corrected. But since Odoo actually got this correct the first time, we'll discard all of these changes that we made. If we want to manually create a new transaction, we can just click on New. And this adds a new line where we can set all the details such as the transaction's date and a label, which is required, as well as the statement's partner and amount. For the amounts, an incoming transaction adding money to your bank should be positive, and an outgoing transaction taking money out of your bank should be negative. Once we add and close, if we need to edit anything about the line, we can switch to our list view. And here we'll be able to edit our transaction to update anything that was entered incorrectly. Or we can even select the line and delete it in the rare case that might be necessary. But note that you cannot edit lines that have already been reconciled without first unreconciling them. That's all for this video. Be sure to check out the other videos in this series, including our videos on bank reconciliation and reconciliation models. This has been your pal Dal. I'll see you in the next one.